Three, two, one. Hello, everybody. My name is Lion. You might know me as Lion Plays on Twitch or Lion Plays 21 on YouTube. And this is the first episode of hopefully many of the Lion Talks podcast. If you are a video watcher and you're on YouTube, you are watching me burn in lava as I play Minecraft. I have ADHD. So I need something to do with my hands while I speak, and it will help me tremendously. If you're not an audio listener, that's okay. Sorry, if you're not a video listener, that is okay. There is no Minecraft audio and sounds. It is just me and my voice. Now that we got that out of the way, this is hopefully the start of many, the LyonSpeaks podcast. And what it will be about is basically just a music nerd loving music, while sharing either albums that I found, speaking to other musicians in the scene about their take on music and their music and the music that they make, and just other things like that. I don't have a set schedule for this, and I don't really know what it'll become. But for right now, this is the plan. And so today I will be talking to you guys about some of my favorite albums at the moment, both modern and older, because I love music. It will forever be a very large part of me and what I do, and I really want to share that love with other people. Myself, I am a amateur saxophone player going for a music degree in college, to hopefully one day be a jazz performer. Because I love jazz as a language and as a style, and I feel like it's a dying art form, which just means that I have a lot more work to do. And so, while I pursued that, I've always had dreams of becoming a content creator, which is why I'm here now. But without further ado, allow us to get into the podcast, or get into the meat of the subject. So, there's an artist I found on TikTok, and I usually don't listen to TikTok artists, not because it's not a real art form or anything, but for the sole purpose of I feel like most TikTok artists get overplayed, or most of the time they're just making music for pop, right, and for appeal, which is fine if that's what they want to do. If they want to make pop music and things that are catchy, please go for it. Without any means, I don't want to judge anybody's grind at the top. I don't want to judge anybody's art form or passions. But for me personally, I've always resonated more with artists that are genuine and that are 100% uniquely themselves. So this first guy I'm going to talk to you guys about, his name is Victor Ray, and he does some original music, which I'll talk to you about his latest EP called I Felt. But he also does some covers, and he has this cover on YouTube of him singing Take Me to Church by, I believe it's Hosier. If it's different, if it's something else, let me know. I will refer to him as Hosier for the time being. The Hosier, but not entirely sure. And he has this beautiful voice. I don't quite know how I would categorize his genre. I think I would call it, if I had to guess, I would call it almost like an R&B folky kind of sound. That modern, I would say like modern folk, R&B meets R&B. I'm not entirely sure. Apple Music has it labeled as pop for whatever reason. Let me check what Genius has it labeled as, just so I know if it even is on Genius. Allow me to Google 1 second. Should have had this up already. So if I go to my favorite song of his, what does Genius have it categorized as? Genius doesn't have it categorized. Oh, yes, it has it tagged as R&B, which I think is a fair assessment to make of this song, is it is R&B. because it has more of that feel, but it's a little bit, it's different than the traditional sex, money, and drugs R&B that takes over the media quite often. And I love it because it's so uniquely him and his style. I have a friend who constantly compares him to Giveon, and if you're into a Giveon style of artist, then I will highly recommend Victor, because granted, I don't see it as a one-to-one comparison, but his voice is so uniquely his and his style is so uniquely his that I love it. I will be talking to you guys about this EP again called I Felt. You guys should check it out after hearing this if you're into anything I'm talking about. His title track is called Off Balance. And I'm pulling up the lyrics as we speak. Actually his title track is called Off Balance. And it has a really cool vibe and understanding to it. And I would still consider it R&B, folky, kind of modern. Maybe not modern R&B. Yeah, I would say kind of poppy, but it is really uniquely his. I've said that often. I would try to find a new way to phrase that. But it's kind of like, it's a song where he's speaking to, I would assume, an ex, and he's just saying that we were both in two different places at once, and we were both, fighting and going over these internal struggles of themselves, and they didn't quite understand where they stood in each other's life, which alludes to the title of it being called Off Balance. I think it is a really good sounding song musically. Some of the lyrics is like, how'd you make it seem so easy, acting like you really need me, and then saying, tell me, was it really worth it? Why didn't you let me in? And sorry, yeah, and some other things saying that like we're off balance and he's stuck in the middle. And I believe that this alludes to the next track on the song, which is called Popcorn and a Smoothie. And if you ask me, Popcorn and a Smoothie is about him talking to, I would assume, a daughter, but a child, and asking him, because I assume he has joint custody of this child, and he's saying happy birthday, and he knows that he forgot. But what did your mom tell you? I'm working nights. Now I know that you hear this a lot, but I promise I'll make it right. And it's him trying to reconnect with this child figure, and he's just trying to find common ground, right? And the chorus starts off with, maybe I can just take you to the movies and you can get a popcorn and a smoothie. And my first reaction to the song was, where do they sell popcorn and a smoothie? Or what movie theater sells smoothies? But I digress. It's still a really emotional track, and it's almost comforting in a weird way as somebody who wasn't close to his parents. It really struck home with that, and it's him just asking how his child is, right? And is he do you even remember me? Asking, like, I know that I'm not around, and maybe it's his fault, maybe it's his baby mama, maybe it's some mixture of the two. Maybe he chose his career over his child. I'm not entirely sure on what this is. But then the next song, which is the song that made me fall in love with Victor Ray, is called It's Only Cost Everything. And I can tell you what it sounds like, and I can tell you the lyrics. But when I tell you that the first time this chorus hit, because there's beat hits in this chorus, that it sent chills down my spine. This is traditionally R&B, and not like traditional in the sense of like 2010 R&B. I mean like traditional rhythm and blues sounding, the Giveon kind of feel. But again, not talking about sex, money, and drugs, but just talking about how he's damaged, and how he, I thought I learned my lesson. I'd taken every class, And after all my stressing, I finally took you back. And I think it's really powerful how he's saying he was trying to set himself straight, trying to get paid, rebuilding all the bridges from the damage that I made, and you had to how you had to creep back inside. Well, tell me the truth. You need me here, even though I made it clear. I'll take the blame. I let you in, but it only cost everything. I do think I felt as an EP is really kind of a journey through his life or through his relationship with this certain person, and how it has just messed him up, and how he hasn't been the same since. This relationship either ended or started. And I would assume it is to do with the mother of his child, if that's what Popcorn and Smoothie is about. And again, when this chorus hit the first time, I tell you that it sent chills down my spine. Please go check it out. Go listen to this and tell me for certain that it doesn't give you chills. In fact, hopefully YouTube lets me. I will put a small clip of no, I won't. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it. You guys have to go check it out. I Felt by Victor Ray. One of my favorite albums currently. On the 4th track, it's called Stay For A While. And let me see if I can find the lyrics for it quickly. I believe might be one of his higher viewed songs. Get out on Spotify to get you how many monthly listeners it has, if it is his highest viewed. I'll have a Spotify account because I'm an Apple Music user, and I know that is a sin to say. For is currently his most popular song, 3.5 million listens. It Only Cost Everything is his third most, with the second one being Hollow, which the acoustic version of is the last track on this. A Popcorn and a Smoothie has 2.29 million, and the acoustic version of Hollow there as well. Anywho, back to Stay For A While is probably his biggest song currently. I still think I prefer Popcorn and a Smoothie sound, but Stay For A While is, again, one of my favorite albums at the moment. But I love all of these songs. And his pre-chorus says, "I've been in love with a heartbreaker. I know that everything dies later. That's why they tell me I'm falling deep. I've never landed straight on my feet. Drunk on these feelings with no chaser. I could walk out and won't phase her. She doesn't know that I'm on my knees, that I had let her walk all over me." Which is kind of a contrast to It Only Cost Everything, right? Because It Only Cost Everything is him saying that I'm heartbroken and, I let you in when I shouldn't. And this song is kind of just a complete difference, right? Oh, even if you don't need me around, could I stay for a while? Stay for a while. Now my second-hand heart has been found. Could I stay for a while? Stay for a while. I almost want to say that Stay For A While is him connecting with a new person. It's him connecting with a brand new soul. And, falling in love with that person. But I'm not entirely, I would say that. Or maybe it's how he felt taking back the ex, because in the second verse it does say, "I'd give anything to hold you, even if it's over, we could call it closure." So he might just be trying to go back to maybe the mother of his child, maybe somebody else. And then the final track is Hollow, and it's the acoustic version. So Hollow was actually on a previous EP, I believe, called Oh no, I was just I apologize. Unless it was on I Was. It was on I Was. It's an EP called I Was, which we can get into at a different point. But it is the acoustic version, and you can hear. It was one of my favorite things about this. You can hear the the guitar strings, and you can hear the slide between the positions. So it truly is an acoustic sounding feel, because it's just his voice and his guitar, which I think he plays. I believe he's playing guitar in it. Granted, I am not entirely sure, but I believe it's him. Anyways, and I believe it's kind of, again, back into that like heartbreak feel kind of vibe, where it's him saying, I got a lot on my plate, too much to swallow. You search inside of my chest and you left it hollow. Saying lines like, I don't deserve what you have done, I might deserve it. And when you know I should run, you break the surface, you're under my skin. And I think that's just a perfect way of putting when being in a toxic relationship and understanding that the person who you're with has hurt you and will continue to hurt you. And you either have to stand there and take it or try to move on. But when you have feelings and I assume memories with the person, it's just not as easy to do so. I commend Victor Ray with her for what he's trying to do and who he's trying to become. And so yeah, this is just the start. I promise I'm gonna get into some more. I just have to put up the album while I speak about it. So this is probably my most favorite modern album that has come out, and I don't think that this is gonna be an album review like place. If you want my opinion on albums, I have to love them first. Because as a musician myself, I'm always drawing inspiration from people like Victor Ray, who I wouldn't say is the most popular artist, right? I wouldn't say he's making pop music. I would say that he's making music that is authentically him, and that's what I love to hear. As somebody who is trying to make music who is authentically me. As I am someone trying to make music who is authentic to me. So yeah, please go check it out. It's called I Felt. His name is Victor Ray, and I promise you, you will not regret it. Another album that I have so much love for, that I don't know if it's popular or not in the scenes. I'm one of the only people who might listen to it, and it's definitely not definitely not a known album, but it's definitely not modern. From 1965, it's from a woman named Nina Simone, who has one of the greatest black vocals I have ever heard, and some of the greatest soul music that has ever been made. Nina Simone didn't want to be a performing person. She didn't want to do jazz, and she didn't want to do soul and R&B. She didn't want to even sing. But she had learned early on in her career that playing classical piano, which is what she went to school for, what she studied for many, many years, doesn't pay rent. Playing classical piano doesn't put your kids into school, right? Playing classical piano doesn't pay rent, doesn't buy groceries. And so she quickly had to transition and take her classical self and her classical repertoire into the jazz world, into the clubbing scene, which I commend her for, because there's countless musicians that I know myself that are chasing a dream that they even know will probably never make them money. And it is always sad to see and sad to hear when, musicians are chasing their dream, but they just can't tag it, or they can't seem to understand that where they are going might not have money in it, but they're still so loving and passionate for it, which is kind of a double-edged sword. Or understanding that the love of music will always be there, but also understanding that sometimes you have to pivot, right? And I believe Nina Simone's I Put a Spell on You album encompasses both sides of her life. I really think it's a biographical, biography. What do you say biography? Did I say biographical? It actually might be that. I might have been correct. I wanted to be an English major at one point in time, And then I learned how stupid the English language is. And I was like, nah, never mind. I'm good on all that, guys. But I digress. Um, yes, her, yeah, biographical. I'm gonna stay with that, guys. Album called "I Put a Spell on You" is amazing, and it speaks to her life, and it kind of walks us through her life journey. Her title track, "I Put a Spell on You," has this amazing, like almost foiled saxophone part where it's I was told by the great Chris Tyner, who is an amazing trumpet player, that this "I Put a Spell on You" is kind of like the saxophone player who is thought to be King Curtis is almost a conversation between him and Nina, where the saxophone player is almost barking back the lines that Nina is singing. It opens up with these powerful strings that make you feel some type of way, and it was a really big thing in the 60s once people started to learn how to scratch that, when music recording technologies was advancing as far as it had. People had really started to learn and lean into recording symphony orchestras and using them for pop music or pop music at the time, which we look back to as jazz music. And that's another thing that I want to get into in later podcasts, is how the evolution of pop music has changed. Because I was, as a kid, without even knowing it, I was really into pop punk and pop rock. And it's so weird then to go back and realize that some of the music I was listening to were genres that I wasn't accustomed to, but because they were popular music and they were considered pop, more pop than rock or more pop than punk, that it really deepened my understanding and my love for music. Okay, back to the album now. So I told you about her first and her title track, "I Put a Spell on You," and the next track on the title, called "Tomorrow Is My Turn," which is, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's her alluding to believe that with this album, which I believe was one of the first albums that she had written. Okay, maybe not written. Yeah, that she had written with the publishers, Philips, the same people who wrote. Sorry, not who write. Philips, the same people who make the light bulbs and the DVD players, which I think is hilarious. Yes, in 1964. So yes, this was one of, if not the first album that she made with that company, but her first album actually came out 5 years prior, called "Little Girl Blue." The second track is just her saying that it's finally her time to shine, and that her luck is returning to her, which also features her playing piano, which I didn't know when I first listened to this track that it was her playing piano. I'd always just assumed it was somebody else, some famous piano player at the time. But no, it took me a little bit to realize that Miss SImone is a brilliant, and I mean brilliant, piano player. But her voice is what caught me from the beginning. The track after "Tomorrow's My Turn" is a French song called "Ne me quitte pas," which roughly translates to "Please Don't Leave Me." The song shows some of her classical repertoire, as well as the amount of power and control that she has over her own voice, which I think is fantastic and so beautiful. It is the longest song on the album for good reason. It's a 5-verse story of grace that moves you even if you don't understand what she is saying. I would want to play you a sample of it, but just like "It Only Cost Everything" by Victor Ray, this is one of those songs that has to be heard in order to be appreciated. So please, even if you don't check out the whole album, if you check out "Ne me quitte pas" from this album, you will have 95% of the knowledge that you need to know. Yes, and then the song after This one is Marriages for Old Folks, which I think is one of my favorite songs because it's her kind of saying that she's too young to get married. It was probably, I don't quite know the time frame, but I would assume that it was one of the many things that she was old at the time, was saying that, you know, maybe she was getting up there in age and maybe that she wanted to be married. But she quite says, I love dancing, crazy romancing, fellas advancing constantly, but marriage is for old folks. Old folks not for me. One husband, one wife. What do you got? Two people sentenced for life. And that last part, two people blank for life, changes throughout the song and with every chorus, which I think is funny. And it evolves and it keeps changing. That she's saying that, like, hey, marriage, not for me. It's not what I want. The song next to it is called July Tree, and it is still in the jazz kind of album, but it is her saying that it's her experience with love and talking about when true love blooms, right? And so it says, true love deep in the winter's white snow, how long will it take to grow? You know, true love buds in the April air, Was there ever a bud so fair? True love blooms for the world to see. And it's her kind of just talking about true love. It is a short track. It's only 2 minutes and 44 seconds, but it's powerful in the way it sounds. Give Me Some, which I think is one of the funniest tracks on this. One of the funniest and probably one of the biggest middle fingers to the music industry at the time, is about her saying, to quote, give me some, right? For your love, I'd be your slave. Oh, give me some. I said, give me some. So she knows what she wants, and all power to her. But for this to come out in 1965, just off of the butt of the civil rights movement, it is amazing and so funny and so much of a middle finger to people in the music industry at the time. Now here we have what is my favorite tune on this album. It is called Feeling Good. And Feeling Good was originally written for, I believe, Feeling Good was originally written for a musical called The War of the Grease Paint - The Smell of the Crowd. And it was first performed in 1964, the year prior. But this is the way that Nina Simone puts her all into this song, puts her heart and her soul. It is so good. And if you've heard Bublé sing it, because Bublé is amazing, there's nothing like how Bublé sang it. It is so much emotion, so much drive, so much passion behind it. It's one of those like Victor Ray's It Only Costs Everything, and then get the pause on this album. Me talking about it will never give it justice. It is one of, if not the best song in its genre. She puts so much of her soul into this. And something you will notice about me and what I love to listen to and what I would love to spend my time analyzing is music that makes me feel something, anything at all. Even if the music makes me feel something, I'm 100% more likely to spend time to listen to it more often. I need to take a sip of water. My apologies. So yeah, Feeling Good. Please, again, we're gonna go down a huge musical nerd rabbit hole after this. I promise you. And if you're along for the ride, it is well worth it. After Feeling Good, on the track list, it is called One September Day, which again I think plays off of July 2. And yeah, they're saying that Nina is remembering one September day because she thought that love was bliss. How did they know it would go astray? It began and it ended on one September day. We met by chance as people do, but it blossomed, yes, it blossomed into something I never knew. And I do think that it is like her falling in love and her loving somebody. And then we have what is called a blues on purpose. And this is completely played by Nina. And there's no vocal to it. It is just blues piano, which I personally believe is amazing. Probably one of the best iterations of her playing piano. And there's nothing I can say about it other than to listen to it, because I can't none of those lyrics to dissect or anything. After Blues on Purpose, which was an amazing piano bluesy feel, there is called Beautiful Land. And I actually think that this isn't right. Let me hold on. I don't know if this is hers. This is written. Let me give me one quick second. I do think she wrote this. If not, then she had writers write it for her. Maybe it's another musical track. I'd have to look into this a little bit more, guys. I apologize. Nonetheless, it's her going over how I remember how I learned Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, blue, indigo, violet, is each of the two chorus songs. So it's only 157. Goes over it. So she goes, red is the color of pretty pale rocks. Orange is any orange on a tree. Yellow is the color of a bag of lemon drops. Green is a place of seaweed in the sea. And it goes through that, and then it goes, these are the colors of a rainbow sky. And then it goes into a new. No, it doesn't. It repeats it. Yeah, it repeats it. So it is just a 2-verse or chorus song, but it's so beautiful sounding. You have to listen to it. I promise. Song after Beautiful Land is You've Got to Learn. And it's kind of her saying how sometimes you have to learn to look strong and not wear your heart on your sleeve when you get to be a certain level of fame and you're recognized. Right? That you have to tell your heart that life must go on. You've got to learn to leave the table when love's no longer being served. Right? And it's her going over just how she got up and got through her tough times, right? How she had to how she had to learn to hide her tears and tell her heart that life must go on, and that go on living as before. What good is thinking of tomorrow? Who knows what it may have in store, right? So living in the day and appreciating what every day is. The last track on this album is called Take Care of Business, which I think goes hand in hand with You've Got to Learn. But it's also a little bit in the same wavelength of like Give Me Some, where it's it's a little bit about quote taking care of business for me, right? But it's got that same kind of vibe for sure, but it's not explicit in what she's saying, but it is it might be a little bit explicit later on in the lyrics, but nonetheless it's I would almost categorize it as a movie track. If you guys listen to it, you guys might feel the same way. I'm not ever entirely sure. But I believe those two are some of my favorite albums, at least at the current moment. And again, this is gonna be a series, guys, where I'm just walk you through some of my favorite albums. I might try to play some here and there, but I know YouTube doesn't much like that. So I will try to continue just talking about it and hopefully sharing how passionate I am about it with you guys, whoever chooses to listen to this. Please go check out I Put a Spell on You, written by Nina Simone. this one is more well known than Victor Ray's album. And one may even say better produced or more of a different. I would say that they're different vibes for sure, but I would check both out and give both a shot while you're still around. If you made it this far into the podcast, I want to say thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for being here. And if you want some more, please leave a comment down below. Or if you're on YouTube, can you leave comments on podcasts? I don't think you can. But yeah, my name is Lion, and I love music. And eventually, hopefully, I can get some guests on and we can talk about albums that they like, albums that they dig, stuff that they're into, just so we get a different perspective and I can learn more about music as I can. Eventually, I also want to get into the technical side of things, right? As an amateur musician, I've been into studios and I've performed and I've played venues, and I want to tell some of those stories on here as well at some point. But I believe that is all for episode 1 of LyonSpeaks. I appreciate everyone for being here. I said that already. I thank you so much for watching, guys. Watching, listening, or viewing. No, because watching and viewing are the same thing. Why do people say that at the end of podcast? Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here with me. If you guys enjoy it, leave a like, show your support, share it to a friend. And yeah, I will catch you guys on the next episode of LyonSpeaks. Bye.